We'll talk about the top uses of AI for both work and personal use. We'll talk about where you can find AI, and I'll show you some of the tools that are available and how to get to them. We'll talk a little bit about the free versus the paid accounts and what you get and what the pros and cons are of each type. And then we're going to do a fair amount of demonstration. We'll take something like a similar prompt and we'll see how it works in some of the different AIs. And you can see how they work, how they operate, and that there's actually more similarities now than differences depending on what you're trying to do. So I did some studies and I did research and I said, what do people use AI for in work? Many of us are retired, but some of us may still work part-time, or we have some hobbies or activities we're involved in. And writing and communication is one of the number one uses of AI in work. Not the only one, but it's really important for people that are still working in the workplace. A lot of it's used for data analysis, analyzing information, data. It was a lot of important things. So if you had numbers, inventory, statistics, sales, research, things like that, data analysis is really effective. And automating tasks. These are becoming more efficient ways to automate tasks. I heard interviews with some people that run software companies that they're saying they're hiring less entry-level programmers because a lot of the entry-level programming work they're having their senior programmers use AI for and actually developing code and creating applications. Personal uses are a little bit different, but people use AI a lot personally, and it's increasing. But writing is still one of the most common uses, even for people that are using personally as well as in the workplace. So that's a pretty common task. But a lot of people are using AI for learning things for personal use. Now, it's not that learning isn't used in work environments, it's just that it's more popular and more frequently used by people when they're looking at it personally. And then using it for planning. We'll talk a little bit about how AI can be used for planning, and particularly when we do the second session on prompting, we'll take a look at how you can use some very creative prompting techniques to have AI develop plans for you and schedules and other things like that. So we'll take a look at that. Now, last week we did a session on 20 plus things you can do with AI. And I just wanted to review a little bit of this for you so that you have an understanding of some of these things. We can ask questions, you can learn a skill, you can brainstorm ideas, you can improve writing, create content, write code, translate languages, generate summaries, plan events, craft speeches, learn about technology, solve problems, make decisions, role play scenarios, explore creativity, develop business strategies, learn through tutorials, staying organized, generate names and titles, conducting research. And that doesn't really have much to do with all the graphic capabilities that you can do with AI, because you can generate images, diagrams, drawings, and AI has gotten very effective at doing things with text in addition to images as well. That's on YouTube. It's also on Tech Explorer community. So take a look at that recording if that's something you want to do. Now, where do you find AI? This is what's becoming kind of interesting, is because it's showing up more and more places. There are websites. That was one of the original places you would go to AI. And I'm going to show you most of the AI today on websites just because it's easier to navigate between different tabs on my browser and move from one AI to another. But websites are really common to where you find AI. These are the AI tools like ChatGPT or Copilot or Perplexity or others that you can find. And we'll take a look at these and a few others. But most of them now have mobile apps that you can download and install on your smartphone. There's Gemini mobile app. There's a Copilot mobile app. There's a ChatGPT mobile app. There's Perplexity. They all have mobile apps for a lot of their tools as well. So you can use the mobile and you can use the websites. And if you have an account that you set up, and you can set up a free account, it'll typically synchronize any chat sessions you have between the mobile app and the website so that you can move interchangeably between the two and they're kept in sync. There's also desktop apps for a lot of these tools where you, rather than going to a website, you can use it as part of a desktop app and take advantage of it as a native desktop app. It obviously has to go out to the cloud to do the AI work, but the desktop interface makes it faster and more responsive, and you can put an icon in your toolbar or taskbar depending on where you use it. And we're seeing more and more AI within applications. And that's what's really changing faster and faster. Now, obviously, all the AIs are expanding their functionality and capabilities, but increasingly we're seeing applications we hadn't thought about having any AI, with AI starting to get embedded in them as these application tools are starting to develop. And here's an example. Okay, we've got ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Meta AI, Microsoft Copilot, Perplexity, and Claude by Anthropic, which are the pretty much the more popular direct generative AI tools, things where you go and you enter a prompt or you go want to get an image done, but they're getting integrated into other tools in a variety of ways. Microsoft Copilot is a AI tool by itself, but it's getting integrated into Microsoft 365 Office applications. And I'll show you one or two examples of that. Google Gemini is an AI tool by itself, but it's getting integrated into Google's what they call their workspace applications, which are things like Gmail and Google Docs and Google Sheets and other things like that. Meta AI is getting integrated into WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram. And of course, companies that don't have their own AI are integrating with AIs as well. So you'll find some AI tools are using Perplexity, which is predominantly a search tool, but it does a lot of research and analysis. Others are using Claude from Anthropic. Others are using ChatGPT because it's very expensive and a lot of effort required to develop your own generative AI functionality. And so you see a lot of third-party applications and tools building AI into their functionality more and more and more. And here's just a couple of examples. Okay, Canva, which is a very popular graphic design tool, WhatsApp, Microsoft 365, Facebook, Instagram, Grammarly, Google Workspace, Apple Intelligence, Salesforce, mails tools like Aweber and MailChimp and Constant Contact, Zoom as AI integrated. That's how I get my summaries that I post on Tech Topics afterwards, and how when you join a meeting that I run, if you want to catch up and you can catch up with them. Then Adobe has got a lot of apps as well. And you're going to see a lot of AI integrated into more and more and more applications all the time. Even in our photo editing applications, our note-taking applications, they're putting AI functionality. Some are really, really obvious how you'd use them. Others are, you wonder, but some are very versatile and some are limited to what the application needs to do and that functionality. So there's just a lot of versatility, and you're going to find AI in more and more applications all the time. So we're going to take a look today. I think we'll have time to look at a little bit of 365, a little bit of WhatsApp, a little bit of Google Workspace, and maybe Apple Intelligence to get an idea. I'm going to try and hook up my phone, and I'll show you how you can get a chat with Meta AI directly through WhatsApp. Now, one of the big questions I'm getting lately is it worth it to pay for AI or not? Well, cost is an issue. You know, the free versions are great because they are free, and you're finding a lot of free AI around them. But increasingly, we're starting to see usage limits with free AI, or maybe ad-supported aspects of it, so that a free version may not be as responsive. It may have limits. It may have limits that you can use it for in some respects. So those are the disadvantages. But if you're a casual user, you're not using it a lot every day, the free version still might be more than adequate for you. The next thing is access to features. You've got basic features You may not have everything you want to have for learning or experimentation. And there might be some limited access to the latest, what they call the latest models, which are the more capable ones, the more robust ones, the more ones that can do more complex problems, or premium content that are tools that are available for you to use it for generating, say, more advanced, research. Deep research is a tool that's being introduced in a lot of the AIs and other types of aspects of it. And then you'll have something about data and privacy. You can start, you don't always have to give payment details, but you might have to set up an account in order to use it for free. But free versions may, collect more data for training or marketing purposes. So that's a downside to it if you're concerned about certain amounts of privacy in what you're using it for. Support and reliability. The free versions are really good for casual or occasional use, but if you're really trying to use it for work or productivity or writing or creative aspects of it, the free version is going to have a limited amount of customer support and some slower response times. Let's take a look at a few of these now. I've got everything set up in Chrome just because it was easy to work with. All of these will work in Chrome, Safari, other tools, whatever you use, Firefox, Edge, etc. And I've got a bunch of tabs set up front. I've got a new tab, a blank one. I've got a Search Labs, Meta AI, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Claude, Perplexity, and I've got a Google Mail inbox and a Microsoft 365 web tab as well. We'll go through a few of these. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out to you in this new tab here, if I do a search for, say, lawnmowers here in Google now, Google will often give me some search recommendations here, but sometimes will give me an AI summary. What you can do with Google, however, is you can go into the Search Labs button. You may only have this available to you in the United States, I understand. So you may not have Search Labs everywhere, but if I click on Search Labs, it brings up what's called AI mode for search. And AI mode has a variety of experiments that are available. You can use images as prompts. You can try things on. You can ask questions. And when you ask a question in AI mode and you want to try this, you can do things a little bit differently. So I'm going to try an AI mode and I say lawnmowers. And we're going to get a very different kind of response from lawnmowers. So it's finding a whole bunch of things about it. And it's not just giving me links to lawnmowers where I can buy them. It's giving me some information about lawnmowers. Like here's, all I said was lawnmowers, but it kind of assumed, okay, you probably want to know about manual reel mowers, gas powered, electric push, self-propelled, riding mowers, robotic, considerations, remember, and I can say that's a great response and give them feedback, but also I can see that there are links here to different sources of information, and I can go directly to the source. So and it'll show me where it got that information from. So that's a little bit different approach. If you see this little Search Labs icon, and you might have to go into your Google account to turn it on, but if you see the Search Lab icon, you'll get different types of search results than if you are just using a standard Google search. So that's one thing. Now that's entirely different than Google Gemini. Google Gemini is gemini.google.com, and it is a generative chatbot. So you can ask it to, they have a couple of prompts that you might be interested in. So you can say, well, lawnmower season, I'd like to know more about lawnmowers. And I'm going to copy this. So we're going to use this same prompt in a variety of other AIs. And so let's see what it comes back with in this type of approach. This is not AI mode in search. This is Gemini, the generative tool. So it's basically going to give me an explanation of what lawnmowers are like and how they work and how they operate, a little bit like AI search, but the AI mode is not as complete as this. This is a little more complete type of approach. Now, one thing you'll see in almost every AI tool as you go through this is you'll see an option for how to share it, how to use it. And so Google has a three-dot button here for sharing and export. If you click on that, you can share your chat with other people. You can export it to Google Docs right away. And that's one of the advantages of using an AI tool from a company that does other things like Google, is that you can export this to Google Docs right away, or you can start a draft in Gmail right away. And so for people that use Gmail a lot, that use Docs a lot, Google Gemini makes a good tool. And this is free. I haven't upgraded. You'll see the upgrade option here. And oddly, most of them want to charge about $20 a month. So that's very common across all of them. So let's go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT you can get on the web. I have a paid account called a Plus account, which is $20 a month. They were one of the first ones out there. And so I have I can save all my history. Generally with the account, you save the history. And if I put in this prompt, I can see it. Now you see some other things like research. I can do a detailed amount of research on something. And with my Pro account, my Plus account, excuse me, I can get 25 deep research reports until July 12th, and then it resets for 25 more. I have some other tools here that I can access where I have the ability to do more, creating images and others, and then I can also add information to it. I can add images, I can add text, etc. All of them also have a voice option with a microphone. So if you want to dictate your prompt, you can dictate your prompt to your AI as well. But I'm just going to use the same prompt and we'll see how ChatGPT does in terms of coming back with a response. So it's going to help you. So it actually prompts me for a little question. Let me know what you're specifically looking for. For example, lawn size, type of terrain, preference, budget range. But here's a quick overview, and it formatted this in a table for me so that I can glance at it very quickly. And it gives me some popular features to consider. And it says, would you like help choosing a model? It gives me another suggestion or not. Now, you may see a question once in a while like, do you like this personality? And one of the things we're going to learn a little bit when we look at prompts is a persona or a personality for the AI is an important part of prompting. I did not ask this prompt to be anything other than just give me something back on lawnmowers. But if I had said to it, gee, as a lawn care expert or as a fellow homeowner with a suburban lawn, I could ask it to be a personality if I chose to as well. Let's take a look at Meta. So Meta, has a similar prompt. You'll see these typical chat prompts here that you have, but you might get some suggestions for things you can do with it. But if I just type in, I'd like to know about lawnmowers, and I hit the prompt key, it'll start giving me some information. Now it's giving me some best overall. It's giving me some top rated lawnmowers for different needs, assuming that I'm looking for lawn mowers. And it's not telling me where I can buy them from, but it's telling me what their price ranges are, and I can get more information on it if I want to. You usually see a little copy button here if you want to copy and paste this result, but you can also carry on a discussion about this. So if you say, gee, I have a small lawn, and what do you recommend? And we'll see what comes up. But you can have a dialogue with this as you go through it and have a chat responding. Now, what you're going to see every so often, you'll see this little green button here. This is Grammarly. Grammarly is another type of AI that I have that actually has a desktop tool that is available for me to use in any application that I want to use that'll help me copy, edit, and correct typing. So we've looked at Google Gemini, we've looked at ChatGPT, we've looked at Meta. Let's see if we can look at Microsoft Copilot and see if what now it has an issue called quick response or think deeper. Think deeper is going to be a little more complex search. You might have a limit on how many of those you can get, but quick response is the typical type of chat we're getting back from AIs when we use it. And it gave me some recommendations for purchasing right away and prices and places I can purchase them. So it's kind of an interesting response. I can go back and ask more information if I want, but without any real specific information, the AI might make some assumptions. I'm on the free plan for Claude, which is made by Anthropic, and you'll see some things here. You can actually, if you're not sure what you want to ask AI, you can actually, Claude has a little choice, but it has some suggestions, write, learn, etc. But I want to learn more about lawnmowers today, and we'll see what kind of suggestions it gives to me. And so those are some tools that we can use, and it gives me some helping me learn about lawnmowers. There were several main types. What would it like? Gives me a little bit shorter answer, but succinct. Pretty key. But I didn't know what a zero turn mower was, but that's good for visibility, good for maneuverability. And then we'll go to Perplexity and we'll do the same thing. And Perplexity, which is predominantly used as a AI search tool, but it's going to make some assumptions. It's going to find popular lawnmowers and features. It's gathering the selection here. Look at all the sources it went out to find things for me, rather than me having to find, and search 12 different websites. It has a real succinct result here. So it says, here's how to choose the recommendations based on what you might like: battery powered, gas, corded, electric, etc. And it gives me some information about the reviews and other tools that have happened and where they're available for me that I might want to look at. So those are some interesting tools that you can use. You'll have in this chatbot, you have the ability to do things like attaching files. You can see in Perplexity, it says on the free plan, I can attach 3 files today. If you could choose a model, sometimes you can choose different models. That's the actual AI brain that's going off and doing your work. And you can upgrade to Pro. Again, it's about $20 a month. And you can do deep research, but you have to upgrade to Pro. So you see these little limits between the free plans and the Pro plans that are available. Now, if I go over to Gmail, you may not realize it, but I'm just going to send that email to myself, and I'll say, this is an AI class, email. And if I hit my prompt cursor in the body of the email, you may start to see this, help me write. And so I can actually click on this, and it will give me a prompt box here. And it says, an introduction to someone I met at the conference, wish my friend a speedy recovery, a thank you letter for my job interview, just helping you understand. But that's built into Gmail, and I'm not paying for the paid AI mail. This is part of it. So I'm just going to use one of these prompts here and see if I can get it to create one of these things here. It may ask me for this. So I'm going to say, write a friend a happy birthday email. And I'll hit create, and it's going to go off and generate the email for me. If I wanted a longer email, I could refine it. I have refine tools here that give me the ability to make it professional, casual, friendly, engaging, persuasive. I can make it more detailed. So let's see what happens if I go more detailed. Happy Friend Day. I hope you have a fantastic day filled with joy and laughter. Wishing you all the best. That's That's pretty good. I like that. And you can insert this into the email and it's ready to send at this point. So you don't have to do anything more than do that. So it's built into, but it also has a place for you to put your friend's name so that you don't forget that. When you're ready to send it, you just click send. That's built into Gmail right away whenever you want to use Gmail. Now, you may also wonder, well, is Microsoft doing these things? Well, yes, they are. So on Microsoft, you can go to Microsoft 365.cloud, m365.cloud.microsoft, and you can actually get to Microsoft 365 and use a lot of the tools for free. But if you open up a blank document in Microsoft now, in Word. Doesn't matter whether you're using Word downloaded, whether you're using Word on the web, but what they've got now is they're starting to incorporate Copilot into the 365 applications. And they've got a couple of suggestions to help you understand. Create a summer vacation shopping list. Create a plan for my career growth as a journalist. Create a vacation blog about hiking in Yellowstone. Create an organizing schedule for 6 weeks. So what do you want it to draft? Well, let's just take this one for organizing a schedule. And I'm in Word. I am not, outside in Copilot. I'm not in ChatGPT. This is actually creating the Word document for me in Microsoft Word as I go along. And as I mentioned, it's available free. Now, if you do have a 365 subscription, if you use the downloaded versions of Word and PowerPoint and Excel, you'll have a 365 Copilot functionality in here. I can keep this. I can ask it to make changes, but I'm just going to click on keep it. That's pretty good, for a document. So right within your documents, you can do that. So I'm going to change my sharing and switch over to my Apple Pages window here because Apple has these tools as well. So I'm going to start a blank document in Pages. Over here on the top is what's called Writing Tools. If I click on Writing Tools, now you'll see this pop up here. And I have this connected to ChatGPT. In the settings on Apple, you can connect up your Apple account to ChatGPT, which gives me the ability to click on Compose. And now it says Compose with ChatGPT. Okay, write a workout plan for losing weight. Okay, and I will click this, and it's integrated into Pages. So it takes a little bit because actually at time because it has to go out from Pages to ChatGPT, but right within Pages, it'll actually do it. Now, I have a paid ChatGPT account, but you can connect it to a free ChatGPT account. Just you have to set up an account with ChatGPT as well. So I'd like to focus on home workouts without equipment. A lot of the chat tools will give the ability to do this, and it'll change it a little bit and revise it for us and modify it depending on what we want to accomplish. But again, the writing tools are always going to be available for composing. In addition to taking any document you might already have open, you can summarize it. And the same thing with Word, the same thing with Google Docs is the AI tools are built into their applications more and more, so we have the ability to use them. So I'm going to find my WhatsApp application here. I have a Meta AI chat that I can do. So I want to find out something here, and I can just do it right within WhatsApp. I can say, tell me about lawnmowers, and it'll do it right from within chat or within WhatsApp. I don't have to do anything more. This will give me a lot of information. Should be very similar to what I got from Meta on the web, but not always, because you may get a little bit different answer all the time from different things. But right from within your WhatsApp application, you've got Meta AI built in So increasingly, you're going to see more and more AI functionality available to you from within whatever app you do.